you can't say to me, well, that's not going to help and that's not going to make a difference, because I'm like, well, when you're sleeping, I'm trading, I've just made $5,000 and you're asleep. So that's one example. Give me an example where you've slept and made more money than me when I haven't slept.
Welcome everyone to another Words of Rizdom podcast. We're here today with Elliot Serge, and absolute pleasure to have you here. Yeah. I know I messed you around a bit, I dragged you around London. Apologies about that, but we're here now.
Good to be on my toes is a good thing, I think.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. And we'll just get straight into it. Tell us a bit about yourself. Tell us a bit about your sort of trading journey so far, and we'll take it from there.
Cool, man. So I'm Elliot Serge, as you just said. I've been trading for about 6 years. Started with a friend of mine. I was introduced the kind of what are you up to? Oh, I'm trading now. Oh, that looks fun. And turned out that I loved it. Don't know if I can swear. Can I swear? No, I won't.
Give it about 5 minutes and then you can swear.
Okay. But yeah, I loved it. And so from there just progressed a bit further and further. So about 6 years of trading. That's about it, really. I've done a few private investors and a few funded accounts now, as they're everywhere.
That's it. Can't escape them now.
Yeah, so nothing major. Just Instagram. I've been doing Instagram for a while. Now I'm starting to do YouTube a little bit. Trying to do a bit more social media work because it's just good fun, actually. So that's about it.
Well, that's it. Well, I've actually watched a few of your YouTube videos.
Thank you.
I tried to do a little bit of research.
Oh, yes.
And I like your style. In terms of just it's not scripted. It's not there's obviously thought that goes into it, but it's more like just fun. Having fun with it. And I feel like that's what people should do. I feel like there's so many people out there who they are forcing content for the sake of content rather than just reality. Showing what we're doing, how I'm actually living, or just actual thoughts. Rather than just scripted or forcibly trying to put thoughts together or content together. That's why I love podcasts.
Yeah. The podcasts are brilliant. I think for me it was like I was trading for so long, and I won't name names, but some of the people that I was associated with when I was getting into it were very big names in the Instagram retail industry. And I was just behind the scenes for the whole time, and I was just working. I had my Instagram, whatever. And the good thing for me is that because I don't actually make any money from content, I don't have any pressure to do anything that needs to be done. So it's just sort of like, what should I do a video on? I'll do it on this, and that's quite fun, and I'll do what I'm doing in the daytime. Like today, I think when I'm doing this, I did a day in the life vlog. So it's just sort of like whatever I want to do.
People love those.
Yeah, they love it, man, and they love it. And like we were just saying before we come in here, I use my iPhone still. And a lot of people in the comments like, I love that you just use your iPhone. And and
I said it as well. I love it.
Yeah, it's cool. It keeps it quite lighthearted, which is always good for people, especially with traders. They like to see what you're doing.
Well, that's the actual reality. As soon as you get, so for us, for example, we haven't really done like day in the life vlogs, but when we do meetups, I do prefer to have our sort of editor guy, our videographer there. Josh has been on the podcast, so people will know who he is, but like I enjoy that because then that's more like a movie. But for what you're doing, I would prefer to do a phone, and I'm sure people probably connect with it more because that's real life, rather than, okay, I'm going to do a day in the life, but I'm going to go get a cameraman who's going to follow me around.
I found that people like, especially traders, and this is meant in a really positive way, but they just want to see other traders, whatever they're doing, because especially as trading such an isolated thing, you can sit in your room all day trading or, watching videos, and all you really want to do is just go, there's another trader doing something. It doesn't have to be
exactly,
and I don't really show many profits. Some of the profits that I show is for the Telegram group. I have a Telegram group that's a free group and that stuff, but apart from that, it's nothing flashy, nothing major. They just want to see you having a laugh, and they're like, he's doing what I'm doing. So it's cool like that. But I've seen some of your videos as well, and the quality is really cool. It's good when you do a movie like that, because then you can appreciate the.
It's kind of like, for me, it's like just a memory. You locked in a really nice memory, and then that's it. It's always there. And no matter 10 years go by, whatever happens in life, it's always just there. It's like a timestamp.
Absolutely.
But luckily, the reason for that literally is because we have our guy Josh, and he does all that magic.
Does a good job, man.
Yeah, and he has all the quality. And it's similar, like with trading, like we have to be proficient as traders to be good. He's just proficient in all of that stuff, and then we're lucky with a space like this where they put it all together for us. We just have to turn up and talk.
Really lovely space here, man. As soon as you come in, you can see, and my girlfriend is here with me. Luckily, she's not causing any trouble over there. But she commented on it as well. It's a lovely space. It is cool.
Definitely, no.
It's true. It's true what you said though about the time capsule thing, because that's actually the only reason I started doing the videos in the first place. Is like the flat that I live in at the moment, I'm very grateful to be in, and it's something that obviously I'll move out at some point.
Yeah.
And it was always a dream for me to be there. So I think I did the first video I did was with my friend Joel. And it was just us like putting an Xbox upstairs, and I was thinking, even if I go back and watch this video and no one else likes it, it will still be fun and cool.
Exactly.
And it's got shots of the flat in it.
No matter what happens in the future, you'll be able to show people.
Exactly.
Like, hey, this is when I had this flat here in London, or in this place, or this is when this happened. And it's always it's great entertainment as well. Not only for yourself but for other people you show, and people enjoy it. That's the most important thing. Like, and again, it's just real. Like, you lived it. It's not like you went and rented this place, or you're just staying there for literally a day.
Well, funnily enough, someone in the comment on I think it was my first video, or actually,
classic, what is it?
Yeah, I did another podcast actually with a guy named Will, and I think someone went on the comments of that and was like, "Oh, nice Airbnb."
I think it's
And I was thinking, I've got the agreement. I was really thinking about putting it in a video, but I thought that looks a bit.
Don't need to, man. Like, honestly, it always the people who do that, and it's like when people do like your vlogging, for example. No doubt, eventually you'll have a comment like, "You're just doing this for whatever reason, this reason or that reason, right?" And the reality is, whenever you look at their pages, there is no page. It's always just like some ghost account who's never put any sort of value out there at all, or even their face or identity or anything. And it's always the case. It's always these random people. And I always just find it so interesting, and it tells to their mindset.
Oh, absolutely. And I have a bit of a problem with it at the moment, and my girlfriend tells me off for it sometimes, is that I don't accept that they're just internet warriors. I like to go on the comments and I'll go, "Shut up! What are you talking about?"
I know.
And there was one guy that was saying, "Oh, girls don't want this," and maybe I shouldn't have. It was a bit rude, but I got a screenshot of him and I went on Instagram and I was like, "This guy's giving me girl," and he deleted all of his comments. And I was like, "You can't just sit on the internet." Well, you can, but
the thing is, they do it because they feel there's no repercussions.
Exactly.
As soon as there's a repercussion, that's it. They're gone.
That's my problem. Especially as traders, everything we do has a repercussion. So I'm used to you can't do that without having a consequence. So and also it's just fun and it's engagement and people like seeing it and people find it funny and they go.
It's just your personality, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm the type where it's just I'll block it and that's it. If someone tries to, let's say, make accusations like false then I address that right head on, then that's it. But if it's silly things like just random again like internet warriors or just complete blank pages, I'm just the type who blocks it. But that's what I respect. Like, you're just you're unapologetically yourself. That's why I was excited to have you on, because you're a little bit different. You're what I would describe as like the enigma in terms of like your personality and the way that you may even trade as well. Like, is very different to what the most people are doing nowadays, or how they try at least to portray themselves at the very least.
I appreciate that.
So then it was like, for me, it's like again, someone actually commented on the podcast in the beginning, like, "Why do you keep having people on you agree with?" Or just the same. And I was like, that's a good point, like, because otherwise it's like, why should anyone even watch? Because it's just always the same
we were
stuff.
talking about it on the way here, and I was saying, because the thing is, I am very direct, but I'm also very respectable. I'm very respectful. And it's the same with when I did my last podcast, or when I'm, even with the internet warrior thing, I will never attack someone. I will just call them out on being stupid, and I'll have a laugh about it and I'll take the piss. But I like to disagree with people. I like to be direct with my thoughts, and I like to listen to people's thoughts. I'm never, this is what I think, this is right, and that's it. So it's quite nice to have conversations, especially with traders, because a lot of traders are very like, "I'm right, they're wrong, I'm winning and I'm losing." And it's really nice to bump into people sometimes. Like,
with trading, a lot of the time, for a lot of people anyway, it's a very lonely place.
And
I think you said like, you've got a friend who trades and probably got from there have come across many traders as well. So then it becomes a lot less lonely, but there's still so many people out there who are just always alone. And that's why they connect with Days in the Life or with people who do make content, because they're the only traders they come across. And that's probably why podcasts are great, because then they get to actually hear the reality of the journey, no matter what that is. And that's what I respect about the podcast. That's again why it's exciting to have you on, because then the reality of your journey will probably be very different to the reality of a lot of other people's.
Absolutely.
So like with your journey, like in those beginning stages, no doubt there was probably the losses, there was probably the hardships, But what did that look like for you?
It's funny actually, because for me, and it'd be interesting to know if this is the same for lots of traders. I mean, I've had conversations with traders about it, but for me, the years kind of molded through, because and I'm sure this is the same for everybody. You kind of you have your eyes on a goal, and you just go and you go and you go and you take a loss and you take. And actually, today, maybe tomorrow, I'm filming a video for my YouTube that's the story of how I lost $100,000 in a week.
I was going to ask you about this.
Yeah, and maybe we'll go into it in a little bit. But it's even that. I mean, that was a difficult time, and that,
of course,
whatever. But you kind of still just push through. So for me, the losses in early stages look funny because I remember at the time them being really difficult, but then I remember them passing really quickly.
Yeah.
So it's very strange. But one of the things that I'm grateful for now is having done all that, because even when I get people say to me, like in the Telegram group, someone this week lost a funded account, and I was like, I think it was only a small account. It's sort of relative, so it still matters. But I was kind of like, get on with it. Like, you know, and they're like, oh, it's a bit of a shame. And other people were like, oh, you okay? And I was like, stop doing that.
Yeah.
I was like, the amount of money I've lost, and there's other really experienced traders in there. And they were like, if you'd seen the money we'd lost, you'd relax. And, you know, you got to have a backbone, all this stuff.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's funny. I think that the experience that I've got from the losses is my favourite thing, because not only is it a story, but it also gives you the capability to deal with lots of other things.
Of course.
And further losses in the future, you know, so it's good.
So the way I like to describe, like, with the losses and everything is like your pain tolerance, you know?
Yeah.
If you haven't experienced any pain,
It's a perfect way.
even the smallest amount is going to be excruciating.
Absolutely.
Right? But the more pain you feel, and the more often you feel it, the more numb you become to it, you know, the more you get accustomed to it.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people spend so much time and energy trying to avoid pain, in this sense, losses, that when they come along, that's it. They're completely thrown off check. And especially when it comes to these like funded accounts and everything, like they lose a funded account. They've put they've elevated this funded account as this ultimate
Put it on a pedestal.
goal.
Yeah.
So as soon as they've lost one or lost a challenge verification, because of that, their feeling isn't just a simple, okay,
Right,
and especially because that pain tolerance thing as well. You mix those together, that's it. Now they've sent themselves into a spiral of just negativity. They might try another one, and then the same thing happens, and then bang, 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 and then they have to do 3-4 months worth of work just to get back to normal.
As well. It's funny because I actually used the analogy in the Telegram group on that specific example where the guy lost a funded account. And I was saying, so there's a guy in there that goes to the gym a lot, and he's a big guy, you know, and sometimes he sends in videos of like mad bars, and I'm like, oh, I was sick. But I was saying to him, if you think about the gym, right, to bench like 200k, you've got to go through 50k, 80k, 100k, you've got to work up. And then if someone said to you, after you've benched 200k, go and lift a bar with nothing on it, you're going to be like, oh, I can do that. But if you put someone in the gym that's never done the work or never done any weights, a bar might be a lot. It's the same with the losses. If you've lost, and I'm not saying, you know, go and lose as much money as you can, but you can take the gratitude from it of, okay, well, I've dealt with a 100k loss, say, so I lose 5k, and the pain tolerance, you can go, okay, well, that's not as bad, and it's a perfect way of putting it. But the funding accounts thing is difficult because people think that, like you just said, they put it on a pedestal, and they're like, oh, if I lose this funded account, that's it. Oh my God. But it's like some of the traders in there were saying, and myself included, they will come and go. Funded accounts are not, you know, they're not a puppy at Christmas that is for life.
Yeah.
You know, you get one. If you fail it, everybody hits the max daily loss. I don't know anybody, experienced or not experienced, that hasn't hit a max daily loss, because it happens, and you forget, and sometimes you're used to trading your personal account, and if you're using different accounts, then. But I think the new generation of traders need to understand that these funded accounts are not everything. And when you have one, it doesn't mean it's going to be forever. The idea is to make money.
Yeah.
We're traders. The only job that we have is to make money.
Yeah.
So even if you have a funded account for 2 months and you get 2 payouts and you lose it, you still made money.
That's
Good.
it.
Go and do
Well,
it.
the thing is with the funded accounts, it is an amazing opportunity. Like when you started trading, we didn't, the prop firms weren't really
I wouldn't
around.
have lost $100,000 if they were there.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
I
what
wish they were around.
That's what I always think. I think like, would it have been beneficial if I had one? You know, if they were around when I first started? Probably not, because I would have thrown money at it.
That's an interesting thing, yeah.
So, you know, in one sense, it's actually lucky it came later, but it's an amazing opportunity. No one denies that.
No.
But the fact is that it's not true empowerment, because all it takes, like with funding talent, I got max funded with funding talent. A week later, they shut down.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, they just literally a week later, they shut down.
Someone had a funny nickname for them, but I can't remember what it was, and I probably shouldn't say it anyway.
No.
Yeah,
fine. But literally, they shut down. They made out we're a gaming company or something like that, and I was like, wait.
Oh man, that was.
And the thing is, like, no matter how good, and we respect FTMO, EA, or MFF, for example, we respect these brands. They've been around a long time. They've done the payouts. They've shown longevity and some genuine nature. But for any reason, at any moment, they could choose to just shut down.
Absolutely.
Right? And then you got all these people who are full-time off a funded account, and they haven't put any backing behind themselves. They haven't even put any money into a personal or anything like that. What are they going to do? That's essentially what happened with funding talent.
Yeah.
People were
a lot of people
full-time
were out on their arse,
yeah, and that's it. And then their life is ruined. But in essence, it's not the funding talent's fault.
No,
it's
the
theirs
person's for sticking their eggs in the butt.
Exactly.
And the problem is as well, they won't have the experience of trading different accounts. For example, if you're trading for an actual private investor, the psychology alone, the emotions alone, the way that you manage the account is all completely different. So like you said, if the funded accounts for whatever reason all just disappeared tomorrow, a lot of traders, that even the ones that are good at making money with funded accounts, would be like, oh, I don't know how to do this. Or even private accounts, they wouldn't know how to manage their own private account, because you're not losing money with a funded account. So there's no worry. Once you've been funded, you get your money back as well. So you literally don't lose anything. Whereas if you have a personal account, you can't just start slapping lots on like it's a funded account.
That's it. But that's the interesting thing, though, because you're right, it is not real money. But the problem is, and this is why so many people have like such a negative experience, is that they treat it. No, when they lose a funded account, they're like, I've lost 100 grand.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, right? And you've lost 100 grand, so you know exactly. You know, there's a whole different ball game, right?
It's funny that,
but they're like, I've lost 100 grand, I've lost 200 grand, and then they're tricking themselves into believing that. The reality is, if they really experience that, then they would actually know the actual pain difference, right? But that's an issue, though. They trick themselves into believing I've lost, and the reality is, they at most lost maybe £500 or £1,000, which don't get me wrong, it's still a lot of money,
and
right?
Comparatively, it can be a lot, but
exactly.
still,
But if you're going to trick your mind into believing you've lost 100 grand, you're doing yourself a disservice, and you're sending yourself into that spiral, as we mentioned. Like, and again, who's at fault there? It's you. You've done that to yourself, and a lot of it comes down to how you choose to develop your mindset and choose to think about or take things on board. And I think that I listened to the podcast you did with Wills, for example. I know you're talking at that time. That was about, I think, 3-4 months ago.
Yeah, something like that.
You're talking about sleep. You weren't sleeping at the time and stuff, right? And you're probably doing something similar now. I don't know.
I'm in the middle of so I do my sleep thing is like it's a test. I test myself.
Yeah.
And it also makes me laugh because it's just funny on Instagram, because everyone goes, you should sleep, it's good for you. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm just taking a piss,
But this is what I mean. Like, this is where the enigma thing comes in. Because like, while everyone else is there, like, and I'm one of those people who's about routine and stuff like that, right? But everyone out there, the whole culture is like, you need to sleep this much, and you need to have this proper routine. And I get why. But this is why I would say to you in terms of enigma, like not a lot of people would be able to do what you do, right? In terms of how you do it, or think in the way that you do and still operate, right? I've met people though, and I know people very closely who are successful traders, and they do similar to yourself, where they literally will sleep 2-3 hours a day, do all sorts of different things that other people just can't handle, right? And I even said to that person, for example, who's a close friend of mine, I said, I can't do what you do, right? I just can't. Right, I've tried, and it's not healthy for me, and I end up going, it affects my trading, if anything, right? But that's what I respect, though, is that you're open enough to explain, But I feel like some people they're not open to other people's ideas or thoughts.
People don't like to listen to it, and especially because people, especially with me, the way that I say things, people don't like to read between the lines of what I'm actually saying.
Yeah.
For example, the sleep thing. Everybody knows it's good to sleep. Everybody knows that the better routine you're going to have, the more you're going to perform. It's not rocket science, and it's fantastic to hear people like yourself and the narrative of helping people to understand that you do need to have a good routine. You do need to have your mind in a good place. You do need to have your mind and emotions under control. And when you're tired, you can't do that. And when you're not, if your room's untidy, it's much more difficult to have a clear brain. And all these things, people should know this. But the thing that people miss with me is that I'm not trying to tell you not to sleep. I'm trying to push people into the right mindset to be traders, because anybody can do it. Not anybody can make money out of it, or maybe they can, that's another conversation, but anybody can make an account. Anybody can try and trade. That's the point. And in the group, I have a joke where I say, are you dinner ladies or are you traders? So when they say like, oh, I should have taken that trade, I go, are you a dinner lady or are you a trader? Why are you fucking moaning about that? Idiot. And they go, oh, and other people come in like, you're not dinner lady. Okay, I'm sorry. And they get on with it. But then they do get on with it. And then the next time they lose a trade, they don't come back moaning. They get on with it. So I've helped them to improve their mindset. So this is the same thing with the sleep thing. It's not the idea that you shouldn't sleep. It's the idea that you should be capable of having that strong head. It doesn't mean that, like, even like you said yourself, maybe you can't do it. Maybe it's not the best thing for you. And for me, it's the same. Like, I don't just not sleep ever. And my girlfriend is a witness to this. After I've done maybe 3 or 4 weeks of my intense, like genuinely like 2 or 3 hours a night, I'm up and it's 4 a.m, I'm still on the charts, whatever, I crash, of course. And maybe the people that you know that are the same, they probably have those rest periods. And this is how the people that, again, try not to say any names, there was a guy that I was associated with when I got into trading who was mental like that. The guy would just, and then he'd take a break period. But it's more the mindset that I'm trying to counteract the it's okay, sleep.
Yeah.
Don't be like...
It's kind of like the David Goggins approach, the callous mind. You're building a strong mindset, and if you sort of take it to the SEALs, Navy SEALs, for example, there's a reason why they put them through such hardship. You could easily say, why do that? You just put them, let them do some exercise drills, and that's it. But the reason they do it is to create, they use the term sort of alphas, but essentially create superhuman potential.
It's the ability. It's the ability. You have to have the ability. Even if, sorry to interrupt you, even if you don't use it. Like if you said to me now, Elliot, we've got a big investor coming, I want you to meet him. We're going to have to trade for tonight. We're going to have to be up tomorrow. We're going to have 3 meetings tomorrow. Then we have to trade tomorrow night. And I'm like, okay, because I know I can do it. Because I've tested myself and I've proven. It doesn't mean I have to do it all the time, but it just means that I'm capable of it. I.e., if I'm in a trade, sometimes you end up in a trade and you're really tired and it's like 10 o'clock at night. It's the new day's trading day started and you're still in the position and you should be monitoring it, but you're too tired and you need to go to bed. I don't have that problem because if I have to stay up, I'm like, okay, cool. I can do it.
You're just prepared for
it. Yeah. And there's been so many times where I've lost trades where I've gone to sleep because I'm too tired. And I was like, I'm not doing that anymore. I need the ability to be like, right, I'm not going to go to sleep. But it's different if you, like you said, if you have a routine and you can make sure that you're out of those trades by that time and you have everything under control, then that's fine. But obviously the way I do things is a little bit more aggressive anyway. But sometimes I do have to stay up and it's not just by choice, it's because of the way I trade. I might be in 15 grand drawdown and I'm like, okay, well, I can't just go to sleep now. I have to.
This is one thing I was going to ask you about, like your style. Do you use in terms of risk, the conventional is like, have a fixed risk, 1% or 0.5%, whatever it may be. Is that something you still adopt or is it something that is a bit more fluid in a way?
It depends on, like we said before, it depends if it's a funded account, personal account, investor account. With funded accounts, for example, it's very Wild West because it's like, especially with E8, you're not trying to plug them too much, but like they have a 1 minimum day to pass. So essentially, if you have if you lose an account, potentially you can have one back within 2 days. So the way that I trade it is, okay, well, I have an understanding of my risk. I have an understanding of how much I don't want to lose in that day, or how much I don't want to lose in that trade, and then I just sort of maybe go over the line a little bit. And that's it. But like with my personal account, it's very much different. It's very, very strict, and it's more just because that's your bread and butter, and that's where you.
That's the one that you actually live in.
Yeah. That's what your livelihood comes from. So, yeah, it's mixed depending on what account it is.
So, do you like treat the prop firm as like, I'll just milk that. I'll just do whatever.
Games, man. Yeah. And it should be. I mean, well, depending on how you want to use it, of course. But you have an opportunity where you don't pay anything because when you pass, you get your money back. If you lose money, it's not yours. You don't have investors to answer to. It doesn't affect your track record with investors or if you have to do business in the future. It's just a big ball game. So it's like, okay, well, how much money can you lose? Nothing. And how much money can you make? Or as much as you can. So with that, if you have a 100k account and you're slapping lots on, okay, I mean, the idea is not to lose a trade in the first place, but if you do lose a trade, it's not the end of the world. But if you're slapping lots on and you do win a trade that you've properly analysed anyway, you could make 50 grand in a week, or 60 grand in a week, or 100 grand in a week, or whatever it may be. So once you've built up the understanding of the market and the way that you trade, and you can sort of balance out your risk in however you're comfortable with, like for me, it might be more aggressive. Just go for it.
So would you say it just boils down to obviously just understanding yourself, what you're happy to do? And there's a lot of people, they do push this narrative of this is the only way, like with like smart money concepts, that's very popular now, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people, unfortunately, I don't know what it is. I think especially a lot of new people who maybe only experienced smart money, not been in the game for 5+ years, even those who've been in 10+ years, and who've actually seen all these different cycles of events. This is now popular and that's now popular. This is the new thing. Instead, that's all they know, and therefore they believe that this is the only one. this is the only thing that could work. When in reality, we know that you could trade a bazillion different ways. There's literally an infinite number of ways of taking a trade, and there's an infinite number of trade possibilities in the market.
Absolutely.
But it's our job just to pick what is suited to us, what we're confident with. So like having your personal your group, for example, people who come to you, you want them to be sort of aligned with your thinking, aligned with your style. You don't want people with let's say smart money people or support resistance people who just he's doing something, a free Telegram group, let me just go join it for the sake of it. You don't want those people.
No.
Right?
The thing with the Telegram group is it's the dynamic in there. I've had that group I think this group specifically was 2020 I created it. Before that, the people came over from a different group that I had.
Okay.
I think there were some people in there I didn't want in there, so I just moved all the good people.
Just left the one.
Yeah. But I kick people out quite a lot, and it's not because I don't like the person. It's not because they can't trade. It's not because this. One is either because of their ego. There's no ego in there at all, man, and that's one of the things I love. Is that if someone asks a stupid question, people will take the piss in a helpful way, or they're just helpful, and that's it. There's never, oh, why are you asking such a stupid question, whatever. So that's one thing. But also, I like to have the group in. It's not that they have to trade exactly how I trade, but if you have 5 different styles and
everyone's throwing it,
it's just not helpful for anybody. So it's more that I wish everybody well with their trading, but some people may not fit in the group because I want everybody to be able to help each other. I.e., if someone trades in one way and they're confused about a trade, and then they go, well, what do you think, guys? Rather than having 10 different people saying, well, I think this, that, and the other, which might not be wrong, it could be right too. They have 3 or 4 people that have the same view and the same way that they can help with it. So it's much better like that, I think, personally. But it's true though. There's no real right or wrong. There's some things that aren't true. I have a problem with trend lines because I'm like, okay, you can use them, and if it works, then that's fine. But to me, I'm like, there's a reason different to the trend line that trade went through. So just as an example, but I have a friend, Dan, that came to my house, came out to the flat not that long ago, and we were trading just through the day on the screen, and you know, and he was catching a move down, and then I was catching the move up. So I was going, well, I'm not going to trade the move down. I don't see anything. And he was like, well, I don't see anything on the way up. It's like you said, there's so many possibilities, so many different.
And it's all down to perception. Like, you can look at, just as you said there, you know, you're looking at the exact same chart. And one of you's looking at it looks like a long, and one looks like a short. And yet, no, you can't say you're wrong.
No.
You know, you just got to leave it as it is. And I think a lot of people get caught up with that. You know, well, a lot of people just spend time wasting, you know, on other people, you know, giving their opinion elsewhere, looking elsewhere, when all they really need to do is just look within, you know, and look at themselves. And if they did that, they'd probably be, even if they're profitable already, they'll be more profitable. If they're not profitable, then they definitely need to do that anyway. Because I think a lot of people waste their time just literally giving their opinion on others and looking and observing on others. And I understand it to one degree, because it's like, you know, they're not getting what they want from themselves, maybe, so they think that maybe they can find it elsewhere. Yeah,
everybody lashes out when they.
And it's an interesting thing. But like taking that transition from not being consistent, right, not being profitable to the where you want to be, and not being able to live that life that you want to live yet. What were the sort of the key pivotal moments that you may have realized or implemented that helped you to start making some steps forward?
One of the things that was like a massive thing for me was the consistency in itself. I find a lot of people, like the most common question when you're trading, right? How long did it take you to be profitable? Yeah. And everybody thinks that if I say, oh, it took me 3 years, they're like, oh, okay, so in 2 years' time I'll be profitable. Or someone says 1 year, and they're like, oh, okay, so in 6 months' time I'll be profitable. But profitable in itself is like, what's profitable? If you made 100 grand out of luck, you've made profit. Then if you lose trades for the rest of the year and you don't lose 100 grand, you've still made profit. So for me, one of the things that I understood was that consistency is good, and you should aim for it, but you shouldn't expect it like every month I'm going to make 5 grand every month. And that for me was a big thing, because especially when you make 5 grand early on and you're like, oh, I'll go and spend it because next month I've just done it now. That's it. I'm going to make 5 grand next month. And one of the things for me was like, okay, I've made 5 grand. Let's not spend that all. Let's make sure that we carry on as we were and whatever. So that was one big change for me, because everybody goes, it's the same with the funded accounts. With traders, everybody clings on to this like, once I get here, everybody does it in general in life, but especially traders. Once I get here, I'm profitable. Once I get this funded account, I'm making money, whatever. And one thing that like I said earlier, our job is just to make money. So once I sort of thought about that, and I was like, okay, well, my job is just to make money. It doesn't matter if I do it every week or every month. Obviously, the more you can, the better. But however I need to do it. So, okay, do I need to understand my risk? I need to understand how I am, what routine works best for me, the way I trade, the pairs I trade, the way that I save money, the way that I spend money, the way everything is fluid. And I think this is the problem with traders is they don't understand that it's a constant. You're thinking, you're adapting to what's going on. The markets aren't, not the structure doesn't change, but the markets change and economic situations change. And like we said, prop firms weren't around forever, so that's changed. And everything is just always changing. So you just have to understand that your job is to make money. You got to figure out how to do it. You got to keep analysing how you're doing it, if it's the best way to do it or not. And I think that was a big change for me because before I was just like, well,
were you like trying to find, just trying to find this fixed
just trying
thing.
to find the, and also trying to find the holy grail of trading as well, as everybody does. But you're sort of like, oh, well, there must be a strategy out there. There must be this. And this is one of the things that SMC, I don't know much about SMC, and I don't hate SMC. I don't hate people that trade SMC. It's the same as we said. It's up to you how you trade. What I don't like is the 1 to 1,000 risk reward. This is the only way to do it. This is like, and it seems to be like a cult.
Yeah.
With a lot of people, not everybody that trades it. And I've had lots of people that do trade SMC that have gone, this isn't right for all of us. And then I've gone, okay, well, tell me about it then. But it's the idea of we're right. This is the only way, this, that, and the other. And I think the problem that creates is a lot of traders will look to it and they'll stick with it. And they don't think it, like you said, they don't look at them themselves. They just go, well, this guy's doing this.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's it.
Well, that's where it comes down to like it's never anyone's fault, but like marketers using high risk to reward or just general people using high risk to rewards to try and attract people. Again, it's never their fault because it's always the person. You know, if you're giving into that, if you're giving into this greed and giving into, my goodness, I can do this all the time, then that's your fault. But I've always said that smart money concepts is a broker's dream, right? And the banker's dream, because all you're doing is taking people who aren't consistent. And now what they're doing is, before they were scared to put on a 10 lot trade, but now because they have a 2-pip stop, they put a 10 lot trade on. So now the broker's getting higher commissions. The broker's getting people who can get liquidated so much faster than, before they might blow an account in 50 trade. 90 days. Now they'll blow it in a day. You know what I mean? And the bankers obviously have a huge amount of retail. Well, a lot of these prop firms are on demo, so the bankers have there's nothing involved. But you get my point, right? There's a lot more liquidity that's available now.
Absolutely.
So I completely agree. Like, there's always positives and negatives, but the thing I know about smart money, if I was to explain to you like what I think the benefits are, it's simply because it gives a rule-based system. In comparison to before, it was more like, here's some confluences. If you see a bunch of them together, then enter a trade. Well, I think what smart money's done is it's allowed people, or just opens people's eyes to having actual rules.
And having a set.
Because I think Will mentioned it on your podcast, like having the 5 set things, for example. So I think that's allowed, because again, kind of reverting back to what I said about yourself, is like your style and I think people probably similar in your circle as well, is like the enigma, like a different type of trading that not everyone's going to be able to do, right? If we're talking more the masses, like the retail masses who could be profitable, the way they're going to have to do it is to have this structure, kind of have it laid out as like step 1, step 2, step 3, execute, and for you that would be probably a bit more like, that.
But the thing is, that's better for them.
Exactly.
And this is like, my stress levels are ridiculous.
Can imagine.
But I like it. And that's some people can't handle it. Some people can handle it. I can't always handle it. Sometimes I have lots of problems with, sleep and this, that, and the other and whatever. But it's the way that I prefer it. But I think that after speaking to Will was actually really interesting because he does well. Does very well. His trading's very good. And he has the 5 things. And I was like, If someone came to me as an example and said, should I trade like you or trade like that? I'd say, go and trade like that, man. Don't even bother trying to trade like me, But it's that, it's interesting to hear different sides of it.
The beautiful thing is, and what's important, is that you won't sit there and say, okay, here's this guy's doing well. Let me try and see if I can do that. You're just like, I know me. Right? And that's what people fail to do, is that they don't, again, we've said it already to be fair, but it's like, people won't just look at themselves.
No.
Instead, they will be like, he's making a bit of money there. Even if you're making money, people do that where they already. I've had one guy, I remember I was teaching him and he was making like 12% on average, like 10, 12% on average. Don't get me wrong, there'll be months when it's lower, there'll be months when it's higher.
Decent though.
But yeah, decent, right? And he's there like, I was thinking of doing, adding another entry drill in, or like, doing a different thing. And I was like, why? I was like, why? And bear in mind, like, he just recently started to see these consistent ones, right? Like, I'm thinking of doing this. I was like, why? Like you're finally hitting the number you've been chasing for so long.
Yeah.
Why would you even consider doing something other style? Well, I had another guy who's like, he had just joined like one community or like one mentor to learn that specific thing. And instantly within the first 2 weeks, he's already saying, well, I just saw this other guy here. Well, I saw this other community doing this. And I was just like, where's your mindset? You know, where's your mind? Like, essentially, it reverts back to what you're saying, that everyone at some point is chasing the Holy Grail.
Absolutely.
And I think a large part of, like, as you mentioned, someone could do it in 1 year, 6 months, or someone might be 10 years. As I think a large part of it is when they finally decide and realize there's no Holy Grail.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, and then that's where actual quite large changes can happen. Either large changes happen or people quit because they're like, oh, this must be a scam. Then.
Yeah. But it's what you're saying is perfect, because it's, and some of the videos that I've watched that you've done on the podcast, they're all great, by the way, wicked. And the whole idea of understanding yourself more is so amazing, because, and this is the same thing with the SMC, and I only use SMC because I can't think of any others, but SMC,
the most popular,
this, that, or the other, whatever. People need to understand the industry first of all, because, like you said, it's their fault if they're listening to 1 to 100 risk, when they're slapping 10 lots on and they're whatever. If they understood how the industry worked, they would understand that they're just giving more money to the brokers, and they'd understand that the marketers are working for the brokers and the brokers are working for the banks, and then they understand how the industry works. But a lot of people don't. And funnily enough, when people come into the trading industry, they don't do. If you're going to open a restaurant, you're going to go and understand the industry. You're going to go understand the competition, how it works, where the suppliers are, how you do this, how you do that. You go through the industry and you understand it. You don't just go and open a restaurant. But for some reason, traders think they can just come in, learn the Holy Grail, and they don't have to understand anything about how anything works or who works for who or how that works. And it doesn't help. So if they understand the industry, then they can understand, like, okay, is this going to work for me? Is this 1 to 100 risk reward realistic? If it is, then cool, good. If not, and then after they understood the industry, they have to understand themselves, because, like you said, if someone comes along and they're making money, if you don't understand yourself and where you are, you're just going to chase it. Yeah. So, like, if someone comes to me and says, like, people send me trades all the time, man. Like, honestly, my Instagram, people just go, look at this, I think this is going to go here. I'm like, I don't care, fuck off. Like, I honestly don't care. Excuse my language. But other people will be like, oh, is that going to go to the target? You know, this, that, and the other. But then once you've understood yourself enough, you can control when you do that. For example, my friend Dan that came up and he caught a short, and I caught a long. I said to him, how did you do that? Let's figure out how you can do that. And then recently, not all the time, and I'm sort of trying to work on it, we've been catching like from there to there and then there. Because I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Let's see if we can work on it.
So you're like kind of taking his perception and then trying to add your, you have both together, then it's working out to be able to.
Because I understand my style enough to explore out. Because it doesn't change how I trade. If you're not understanding of yourself, like, which is what you're saying, you have to understand yourself, you're going to lose how you trade trying to chase that. Yeah. But if you understand yours is solid, you know how you feel, you know what's best for you, then you can explore out, and then...
It's building that mental fortitude, you know, kind of what you said there in terms of that analogy with the restaurant is so true, because as you said, that you wouldn't do that, right? But I'm sure you've heard about or even know people where they have done that stupid mistake, where they've literally just gone into the idea of business, just like trading. Like, people, they marry the idea, right? Yes. So they marry the idea of being a trader, or the idea of being a businessman, whether that's a restaurant or a shop or whatever it may be. And again, if there's no passion, it's just the money, or it's just the idea of it, the accolade, you know, the title. It's not going to work. No. But it's necessary, like you said, if you are going to open a restaurant, to do that research, you know? Just taking one specific item of business, like location. Right. If you don't research your location, you're gambling. Because you could open somewhere that is absolute dog shit. Like I had one set of friends years back where they were opening a franchise. Now, unfortunately, they had already secured the location before I met them. Right. And they went and showed me it. And I saw across the street Pizza Express had closed down. And I knew if Pizza Express had gone, if they've left, there's a reason they've left. So this location can't be any good, absolutely. Right? But again, ill experience and wanting that title and just the fancy idea of business. Yeah,
I'm a businessman. I own a restaurant rather than doing work.
I think sometimes, because especially of the longevity we've had and the experience we've had now in the industry, we kind of forget that a majority of people who have the title or have claimed the title of a trader are these average Joes. You know, they're just people who are just jumping in and seeing the trades. And because we don't really, because we're trading, it is kind of like in a way solo, and you do interact with people in groups and stuff. But even then, you don't know that person a lot of the time.
No. And a lot of these people, what they're doing and going through, and you don't know.
And they're the ones who are throwing the the shade, the comments normally.
Every time.
But yeah, it's so interesting because it is just that level of detail, there's so much to it. As you said, that's where the fluidity comes in, because even when you follow those 5 set of rules, for example, I always say to people, you are going to still take, no matter how good you are, you're going to take a trade that doesn't fit those 5 rules.
Absolutely.
But for your job is to be fluid enough to understand, okay, I did that, right? If it won, cool. If it lost, you need to reflect on that, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of people just don't understand that. They just think they're going to find this moment where there's no human error ever in their whole trading career. And and that's where, again, as you mentioned about losing the funded accounts, right? Like, no matter how good you are, you can lose a funded account.
Oh, yeah, man.
All it takes is a bad day.
Yeah.
How many times have you spoke to someone where they're a great trader, they've been consistent for so long, and then their girlfriend broke up with them?
Yeah.
Or they just have a little argument.
Exactly. Like I had a situation this year that I can't really talk about. It was horrible, and it left me like I've only started trading again properly about 2 months ago, maybe something like that. Was it a month, 2 months? Yeah. Anyway, she's over there. But you don't know what's going to happen. But it is funny. It's a weird industry to be in. But funny, I don't know what it was you just said, but something. It was about the idea of being a trader or the idea of being a businessman. And I think that especially with trading, there's such a problem with that because it's so easy to look like a trader. It's so easy to look like you're doing so well. And a lot of people just want to look like they're doing well. And they just want to be doing well like that. Like 6 years, we've both been in the industry a long time. It's a long time. It goes quickly or whatever, but the experience and the knowledge you have is massive. So when people come along and they've been trading for 2 years and they're like, I know everything. And you're like, you don't, man. Like, good luck to you. I'm glad you're doing well, but you don't. It's like those. I didn't do a video on it in the end, but there were the guys on YouTube that did the biggest Forex account flip. Did you see that recently? It was like I think it was like 10K to $1 million or something like that.
Yeah, I know one of them. I've come across one of them before. They're from this. They're from this town near where I'm from originally. I don't know them personally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
but
like, I know who you're talking about now.
Yeah.
Like, what funny guys, you know what I mean? Like, funny people, bro, honestly.
It was that thing for me. I mean, I probably won't go into it too much because I don't want to cause any problems. But
there's no problem, bro.
I don't believe them.
I don't believe them
at all.
The thing is, when I met them before, they were teenagers. I think he was in sixth form at the time, but online he was making out he's this big trader. Yeah, and it was just like you said, the label. So their vision of trading was, as long as I'm wearing like obvious branded
Gucci,
clothing,
Gucci hat. This guy had the same Gucci hat on in every single video, man. My friend, we were laughing so hard. There's the Gucci hat. There it is. Like, it's mad. But the problem is, there's 2 problems with it, and there's one is that they're not going to help themselves because like you said, if you can't understand yourself and where you are, you can't improve. So they're ruining it for themselves because they're like, oh, I've just made £1 million. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, so did you go and buy your mum a house? Where's the money gone? It's not there. And then the other problem is the people that watch it and go, oh, look at these guys. Yeah. It's all just it's a big mess of people that don't understand the work that it takes to put in. And then it just goes round in a circle of, I want to look good. I'm not doing the work because I want to look good. And then I'm not doing well, but I still want to look good. So I still don't want to put the work in because you can't put the work in if you're trying to look good.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You can't go on Instagram and go, I'm winning, if behind the scenes you should be doing the work on.
Yeah.
It's just...
Does it kind of feed into what you were talking about in terms of the no sleep? Is like everyone wants to feel good.
Yeah.
But what you purposely did was to not feel good, right? To really test yourself and just to use that feeling of tiredness, use that feeling of like even pain at times, where you might even be, trying to...
Your body aches, man.
Yeah.
I'll tell you for a fact, like if you do a regime like that of no sleep, you end up with your leg aching, like painful leg aching. You can't sleep. Your arms aching after that. You got a headache. It's not good at all. It's not good at all. But even like some people everybody says, oh, no sleep, hustle all day, and then some people message me after and say, I tried it, I couldn't do it. I can't do it. And I'm like, well, it's not because you can't do it. Maybe you should try it. Maybe you shouldn't try it, whatever. But you just haven't put the work in. So until you've put the work in, don't say, oh, no sleep and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Same with the trading. Don't tell me you're making 10 grand a month if you're not making 10 grand a month. Because I'm not going to judge you for it, but I'm just going to think you're an idiot.
Yeah.
You're not going to do any better from it. It's a weird industry, man.
It's always been a weird industry, and it's just getting weirder. That's the problem.
That is true.
Yeah,
that is.
Because I had someone on yesterday. He's been trading since 2008. So back when he started, he was basically saying like, the way to come across trading was seminars, in person. So you would probably see adverts in like leaflets.
That's
or
mad thinking. That.
You know what I mean?
Really cool.
Well, for us, it was social media, but it was still, there was only key players. Like there was literally a handful, 3 or 4. That's it. Now, hundreds,
everywhere.
You know, thousands, every country, every place. You know, different ages, different styles. You know, and all sorts of different ways of marketing. Whether it's risk to reward, the classic risk to reward, the actual money, you know, or the the luxury items, right? But there's so many different ways, right? And there's so many different things, and there's only going to be more. Right? There's only going to be more, and I'm waiting for. I had the idea of like maybe if I want to be ahead of the curve, I'll make a VR sort of trading floor.
Yeah,
so everyone
that'd go well, man.
You know what I mean?
If Meta stock comes back a little bit, but
right now it's in the dirt, man. Honestly,
it's rubbish.
But yeah, like it's just like there's always going to be progress, right? And with progress, so like this guy yesterday, he was saying how there's all these issues, all these positives in terms of like the prop firms, for example, but with them will come so much negative.
Absolutely.
Right. And I think if anything, the prop firms have fed into a lot of these new marketers because now instead of it being, it was much harder for people back in the day probably to fake a personal account because you'd have to get the money from somewhere or do the demo. Right.
Nowadays you can
just say I'm a 6-figure funded trader. And even then people still will just use a demo account. They can't keep it. So like people will always find a way.
Absolutely.
They'll always find a way to try and manipulate or trick people. And it's unfortunate. And again, it boils down to what people are focusing on, right? There's actually, in terms of being a proficient trader, there's actually no need to a certain degree to learn the knowledge. Again, you could even go to the classic baby pips, right?
Yeah.
Right? It's all there.
Yeah.
But get your knowledge, right? And then from there, I always say to people, I've had people who have said, like, you have enough knowledge, leave. Like, I have like an education for you. I said, leave. Like, go do your thing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Now you don't need any more. What you're doing now is by turning up still, you're still trying to hunt. You're still trying to think, I'm going to hear something new that's going to do it for me. When really they need to just put time into themselves, right? And I think by you doing what you've done with like trialing out no sleep, with trialing out various risks on different accounts, for example, by doing all these different things, you've understood yourself in different ways that people would never take the chance, never take the step towards doing. A lot of people will just stay in a realm where the most action they're taking is just learning.
Absolutely.
They won't take the action to actually implement anything.
Learning is really interesting what you say about go and do it, because there's another problem with humans in general is when we're learning from someone, we still ask questions that we don't need to ask. So if you're teaching me and I know the answer to something, I'll still come and ask you the question, and it's not going to help. So there is a point where you have to be able to go, right, well, I know the answer now. And that's actually a difficult thing to understand, because when you're trading, it's very difficult to understand, okay, well, do I know what I'm doing yet or not? And it's funny time when you're like, I do, but I don't. And it's very difficult for people to get out into that place where they're like, okay, I know the answer. I need to for example, there's some people that come to me in the group and they'll say, what do you think of this? Like, what did I do wrong or whatever? And we'll try and help them figure it out. There's some people in the group that will come to me and say, what did I do wrong? And I go, I'm not telling you. Go and sit on the charts for 3 hours and figure it out, because I know that they know. And there's some people that don't know, so I have to help them and guide it. And it's a very difficult period to switch from one to the other, I think. So it's really good what you said. Like, you're good, leave, go and figure it out, because like we said, you have to understand yourself, you have to be able to do the work yourself, so that then gives them the opportunity to go and go, right, I'm going to sit on the charts for a few hours, I'm going to dissect it and figure it out.
Well, it's like having the what they used to call them, the training wheels on the bike. You know what I mean? It's like you need them,
yes,
right? But the reality is, if you don't have them, you're probably going to learn faster how to ride that bike, let's be honest, right? So they are beneficial to help you, right? But if you stay on them,
they're going to restrict you.
They're going to restrict you. You're never going to learn independence. And that's the whole reason you became a trader, is because you don't want to have a job, for example, where you have to answer to someone else. You want to have that freedom, right? You want to have that time.
Exactly.
But if you don't actually take things into your own hands and you're always relying on someone else, you'll never have freedom. You'll never be free.
No.
And a lot of people, unfortunately, they enslave themselves onto charts as well sometimes. Right?
Yeah.
So like, I bet you've had moments where you look at the chart, nothing's there, you go and do something else, right? You might set some alerts or just know what time you're going to check again, right? But there's so many people where they get up in the morning, right? Regardless of whether they do a similar style to yourself or even just a SMC or whatever the style is, they'll get up and they'll be there from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and just be staring.
Bleeding their eyes out and confusing their brain and losing their perception of the market, and you lose sync with it because it's too much. But I have this thing where I say, when you're learning, you should be on the charts a lot. And then when you're more experienced, you should sort of slow down and like you said, adjust it to however you trade. But I had this I think it was on the podcast I did with Will, where there were lots of comments going, Elliot sits on the charts too much. This guy doesn't know anything about freedom. They were just having a go at me because I was saying you need to be on the charts.
Yeah.
But it goes back to the same as the sleep thing. I'm not saying that you need to read between the lines, because I'm trying to tell people that are new, or trying to tell people that are learning, that they need to be on the charts, because they don't want to be on the charts, because everybody tells them they don't need to be on the charts. So I'm just trying to counter out the narrative, but it's very true with that. When you're learning, you have to be on the charts. But then when there's a good friend of mine who lives in Thailand. I was talking to him, and he's actually been on the charts recently on a Sunday and a Monday, and that's it. And then the rest is on his phone. And he'd just go through a day and he'll look on his phone and he'd be like, oh, that makes sense for me. And then he'll go on the chart and trade it, and that's it. Apart from that, he's not sitting at the chart all the time. But if you're learning, you can't do that, because...
Well, it just goes to show you can do any style.
Yeah.
You know, you can do any method. It's, again, understanding what works for you. So like for him, for example, he's, I would imagine checking in the start of the week, market open, where are things at? Okay, these are the different scenarios that could play out. Now I'm going to the phone.
Yeah.
Right? That scenario is playing out. Now I get back on the chart, and that's what you could class as freedom.
Yeah.
Because you're then choosing, you're not just sat on the screen all day, every day. And then equally though, those people like who say to you, like, you need to get off the chart a bit more. Less is more. Like, that is something that I say. Less is more. The reason I say it,
I do agree.
Exactly. There's an element. I agree with you as well in terms of, the charts is a language. Right,
Yeah.
it's like it's a language. It's a
bond.
It's like a code. It is like there is something that's there that you can't just spend an hour a day. But especially when you're learning, like you said, you can't just say, okay, I'm going to do this an hour a day every day, and I will master this. You can, but it's going to take you 5 years, something like that, because it needs all of that time. So to try your best and people just don't make the sacrifice. Was what I've realized. Is that they will have a job, and you have to do the job. That's the
Absolutely.
income, right?
Yeah.
And outside that, you might have some responsibilities. You have to do that too.
Absolutely.
But sleep, and this is the interesting thing, so it's like sleep, for example, that's not a necessity. Yes, you want to be healthy, but in terms of you want to achieve greatness, right? You want to do something that's above average.
Yeah.
So, saying that you need the average amount of sleep, but you want to live an above average life.
Exactly.
So you need to do some things that aren't average in order to achieve things that aren't average as well. But people just don't understand that. They think that, okay, a part of it is people do market. People do try and promote that, hey, you just need to put 30 minutes, hour a day.
Well, that's the old school one, isn't it?
All
you need is your phone, £100 and 2 hours of your time, and then you make £200 a day. But when I spoke to Will before the podcast, he might. I'm just going to assume what I think. He before was very like, you need to sleep. He was like the complete opposite. And funnily enough, we had like a 2-hour conversation before we even did the podcast, which is probably a bad idea because there were things that we spoke about.
Like 6 hours.
Yeah. But he was saying before, he was like, I disagree with you. Like you need your sleep. It's pointless not sleeping. Your results will get affected anyway. And I went on my YouTube and I showed him a video of LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Mike Tyson, greats. Every single one saying about not sleeping. And I was like, they all sleep, but they all have the same points. And I think most people might have heard the story of Kobe, where one of his teammates went down to the gym at like 3 a.m, and he was like, I'm going to be the first one here. And Kobe's just done a 3-hour workout, and he's like got ice packs on his knees, and he's there before anybody else, and he's like in the gym at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to do that if you want. Well, you don't have to be able to do that. You can have a good routine, but you can't say to me, well, that's not going to help and that's not going to make a difference, because I'm like, well, when you're sleeping, I'm trading. I've just made $5,000 and you're asleep. So that's one example. Give me an example where you've slept and made more money than me when I haven't slept. Like, for example,
But this is the thing. This is, when I say enigma, it's like saying you're part of, how there's like, what is it, like 90% of traders lose, right?
Yeah.
It might be more, but it might be less. But let's say 90%.
It's about that.
So there's 10% of winners, right? But inside that 10% of winners, there's going to be the 0.1% or the 1% who are hyper successful, the greats, as you say. So the greats require extra sacrifice. So like, it's a choice. I think everyone likes the idea of being the elite trader, the part of the greats, right?
Yeah.
But they're not willing to do those things. Those things are necessary to be part of it, right? The doing things with the normal sleep, the routine, that will put you into the winning category if you do it correctly,
absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
But to then put yourself into the 1% or the 0.1%, that requires something different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Sometimes it's not. It is not. Anyone can do it, right? This is the thing. That anyone can be a trader, but that's our thingy for the SD cards. That's our timer. It's a good point actually that we're on. But anyone can be a trader, but not everyone should be a trader.
No.
Right? Anyone can do it, but not everyone will do it.
Yes.
That's the thing. Right?
Very well said, man. Very
and there's
well
the people who can do like I said, especially the average. You can make the average amount. You can be a winner. But can you be the elite?
Yes.
Right? And that's where, like, even myself, like, I know I could be the elite in something, and this is my something, podcasting, right? My something is helping people, right? Teaching, not even just in trading, but just teaching in life, right? That's my thing. That's where I will be elite.
Yes.
In trading, I'll be average, and I don't care. I'm happy with average, because the average money is still not average in comparison to real life.
That is the biggest point, though. It's about what you want to do, what makes you happy. You don't have to be an elite trader.
Yeah.
Like for me, I go through phases sometimes where I'm like, give me the stress, give me this, I want to be the best.
Yeah.
And then at some points I'm like, okay, I'm doing good. I don't need to be the best. I want to focus on my relationship. I want to focus on my family. Sometimes you have to. But the difference is people, like you said, not understanding themselves. Okay, maybe I don't want to be the elite trader. I want to be good routine, disciplined and doing well and keeping it consistent and having a little bit less stress or whatever. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But don't fool yourself into thinking, well, I want to be the elite trader and tell everybody that you are if you're not going to do it. And that's fine. Absolutely fine. Like Will, the guy I did the podcast with, guy makes serious money a month. He doesn't trade half as much as me, doesn't have half as much stress as me. And I was like, good, man. It's sick. But you have to understand, and he very much is aware of where he is and what he wants and how he wants to do it, and that's the point. That's all there is to it. So you're absolutely right with that.
No, definitely, man. Well, man, I think we have to wrap up. I wish we could keep going.
They're probably happy about that.
No, they're not. Definitely not. No, I think you'll be quite surprised. I think people really, really will enjoy this. And I'll have your links in the description below, YouTube channel, Instagram. And no doubt we'll do this again in the future.
Yeah,
definitely.
Cool.
And well, thank you everyone for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you very much.